Welcome, everybody, to the Ask Joseph Lance Show. It's great to have you on today, and I'm excited to see everybody on a big Monday, August the 22nd. Gosh, where did August go? Kids are going back to school already. Where did the summer go? But I'm excited to have my beautiful wife on this call with us today. And I got to tell you, she's as good an entrepreneur as I am. She's going to say a few words today for you guys, but I want you to get to know her and just how God works in lives to put people together and to make things happen and all of that. Every Monday morning, I do a men's Bible study, and if anybody wants to participate, you can certainly do it. But we started this several years ago with COVID, before COVID, and so I just get so much out of talking to these guys, and I wouldn't miss it. I mean, even though I'm in Boston, I wouldn't miss this show, and I wouldn't miss that Bible study. So that's how I feel about all this. But you guys mean so much to Jennifer and me, and we care for you so much and love you and pray for you. That we're very excited about the direction of where our brand is headed and all the things that we're able to do and people that we're able to impact with the knowledge that we've been given. Today, the reason I mentioned my Bible study this morning, I'm going to give you something to read. It's a really short chapter, but it will really bless you. I want you to just, in your off time, read 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It's a very short chapter with 13 verses, but it's about love. It's about love. And, in my life, I have a lot of people always pulling on me. Do you ever have people pulling on you? I have a lot of people always pulling on me, wanting something, wanting to do something, want me to help them do something. And my wife is really the backbone of everything we do. And she has really taught me that love wins. Love always wins. And when you say less, it's really more. I want you to write that down. When you say less, it's really more. When people pull at me and do the things that sometimes tend to aggravate my spirit, I don't respond, and I just love them anyway. And so one of the things that we talked about in our study today, it was about these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Yesterday, I was flying up on a plane to Boston, and I was sitting by this guy who happened to be in the financial business. And I introduced myself, and I didn't say a word. I was just reading. And after he'd had a couple of shots of vodka, he became very talkative and started telling me how great he was. And it was amazing. And so at the end of the thing, he said, "You have a card?" And I said, "Yeah, here's my card." And I gave him my card, and I just kind of chuckled. I walked off and I said, "God bless you, brother." And last night, I heard my computer ding, and it was him giving me, a friend request on LinkedIn. And his message was, "Oh my gosh, you didn't say much, but I did all the talking, but I sure would like to talk to you sometime. Looks like you got a lot of business acumen." So, less is more, isn't it? Less is always more. And so, God orchestrates things for me, and it's amazing. But I wanted to share that with you today. Today, I'm going to talk about the 8 characteristics of highly successful people. And you'll see these characteristics in most very successful people. But I wanted to start out by just having some of you guys say a few words. And I want to go to my wife to start out. My wife is an entrepreneur in her own right, but she is building. Can I give you the way we talk to each other? Can I tell y'all our secrets? We talk to each other. We're just building our empire together, right? And so my name is Joseph Land and her name is Jennifer Land. And so I'm JL1 and she's JL2. But sometimes she thinks she's JL1 and sometimes I think she is too. So, but anyway, she's the straw that stirs the drink. And I'm just the fluff, but she's the real stuff, right? So I want Jennifer to talk to you today. Jennifer and I together have 8 children. Can you imagine? And a little 1-year-old Yorkie named Maximus. So we have a lot of fun, and I'm excited to have my wife on the call today. So honey, take it and say whatever you want to say.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being on this call. I know that I'm still having flashbacks from last weekend and our family visit, and totally missing everybody and the great time we had. And, sometimes it hurts so bad when it's over, and then you got to stop and, tell yourself that these are memories that you're building, and memories and that truly last. And for me, I know I need to take a photo of what we're doing so I can remember it down the road, and just have a lot of gratitude when you start your day. And I think one thing Joseph and I together, I think we've learned in business that we got to set the tone very early in the day. And it's super important. It's really super important, I think, to both of us to show this commitment. And Joseph, of course, will be up, a little bit earlier than I, and he'll be doing his Bible study. And this is very important to me. I know when we first see each other in the day, and it takes a lot of consistency to make it work, but you're immediately kind of sensing to see how the other one is doing and how the day's going. And I think that I've learned, instead of saying, sitting with him in the office, what do you have to do today? I've learned to approach it more as, how can I help you? And to me, when somebody says that to me, it just takes so much pressure off. And just that one question, how can I help you today to make it better? And, and just start off with a cup of coffee together. We've got to, it's so important with your mindset, whoever you're with, your significant other. But I found that it really resonates your mood and how it's going to be and how it's going to go. If you know that, wow, the confidence that you have as you start your day. And I'll give Joseph a cup of coffee, and when you're sitting down, you've got your list. Everybody has their list, especially on a Monday morning. You're just totally overwhelmed with everything that you have to do. And those just little words, how can I help you? And kind of set the tone and be positive. And a lot of mornings we don't feel like, smiling and, saying this is what we got to do to go about it. But I think that to me is very important, because I want to go through my day knowing that I'm helping him and he's helping me. And I feel together we can just accomplish anything. And a lot of times it's conversations too with our children, or who we're with, or sitting. Joseph's story on the plane, he was kind of quiet, but I think people are looking for help in their life, to know that they're not alone in this world, and together they can do it.
Yeah, that's great. That's totally exactly how we do things. And I think it's really good to have someone to talk to and make a plan, and have someone to talk to about your future, and have someone to talk to about what you're struggling with today, and all of those things. And so Jennifer's right. I mean, sometimes I'll get up real early because I want to spend time in my Bible study, and then when she gets up, we have coffee together and we talk about things. And I think it's just so important. We talk about our business. We talk about our business. Who can we be a blessing to today? What do we need to accomplish today? Who do we need to speak, something positive to today, an encouraging word? People just need an encouraging word today. And it all goes back to 1 Corinthians 13, love, As I said, there are a number of people in your life who just need love, that every day come across your path. You just need to love on them. And I tell you, one of the things that has helped me in my business is when I really determined who God really was. And I became so humble that, number one, I'd even have a business, have a chance to have a business. And two, that he would even desire to be with me in it and bless me in it. And that just was a game changer for me. And so not to, not to offend anybody in any way by what I think and what I feel. I also like to say that if you're secure in what you believe, what I believe and articulate about my belief can never offend you, and vice versa. How we learn from each other is by listening to each other. And we live in a society today where when you offer your opinion, if it's contra, somebody wants to cancel you out instead of love you into being all you can be. And so myself, hey, cancel me if you want to, I'm gonna love you anyway, but the thing is today is we need to be even better at what we do than we were in the past, because people need us more. People need us to be better at who we are and what we do. People need us to be better encouragers. People need us to show them love and all of those things. And so Jennifer and I, we, when we got married, we wrote down some things that we want to accomplish in our life. And what you measure will improve. If you write it down and you measure it, it will improve. And then what we started doing, honey, if you want to articulate this a little bit, is we started writing down all the things that God had given to us and helped us accomplish in the last year. Just in the last year, it was amazing. Like our son, got on the football team, or just all the things. And our daughter got accepted to college, blah blah blah. Our grandchild did so and so. We started writing down everything. It is fascinating when you start taking an account of your life in that way and write down everything that's being provided for you that you're just think's happening by happenstance, or you think's just coming to you because you're pretty or you look good or you're a nice person. It's just the God creating and helping you, directing you gently in the way you should go. And I see that in so many of you on this call. And I'm so excited about it. Jennifer, you want to talk about some of that?
Well, I think all of us can relate to that. You take time to really reflect and see, how God's provided for you and how he's sometimes taken things away from you. And whether it be a relationship or, anything. And then you realize later down the road that wasn't his plan. And my gosh, here we go. Our daughter was at a small college in Virginia, and she was kind of struggling throughout the year last year. And she was playing on lacrosse team and trying to figure out if it was the right school for her. And she applied to, some other colleges surrounding for hopes of transferring. And what happened was she ended up finishing the year with straight A's, lacrosse player, just did great. And she heard back from these other schools that rejected her, and rejection hurts. And it was like, wow, how can that be? It just doesn't make sense at all. And the one college that accepted her had given her full scholarship her freshman year, but she decided she wanted to go to this other school to play lacrosse. So it was God's way, I think, of saying, look, I gave it to you free the first time. but you didn't take it. And now here I rejected you, you know, you didn't get into, you know, these other two big schools, even with your straight A's. That's a sign right there. And so I'm letting you in another time, you know, opening the door for you, trying to set the path. And so she ended up going to University of South Carolina. And I think that, you know, these things, you know, in life, you sometimes don't you know, we've been through this with so many things in life. You don't understand it at the time, but it totally opens a door. And being back in school in just this short time, I think she's realized that, wow, I'm listening. You're right. This is the place for me. This is the place for me. And it's hard to make life decisions in business and in, you know, even where you're going to live, what town, what city. But
Jennifer, I want everybody to write this down. This is something Jennifer and I talked about. I want you to write this down. Sometimes you got to let go of what you're holding on to that doesn't serve you,
yeah,
so you can grab hold of something that will serve you, that you're supposed to really have. Sometimes you got to let go of the things that don't serve you, so you can really hold on to the things that God intends to use to serve you and to bless you and to make you better. And too many times we hold on to relationships, and we hold on to what somebody else thinks, and we hold on to, oh, I know this is going to work this time, instead of saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to trust God. I'm going on to another spot. Can anybody relate to what I'm saying and what Jennifer's saying? Jerry, you want to say anything?
Well, that just couldn't be truer. I mean, absolutely could not be truer to walk down life and think you want things, you know, and sometimes you get things that you want, and then you look at it and you say, well, God, did that really work for me? And over and over again, what works is what God wants. And I wish I knew that every moment, because that's what would be true every moment.
Yeah, it's like that's a very key thing you just said. It's like the dog chasing the car and trying to get the tire. So what does he do when he gets it? What's he going to do with it when he gets it? Right? Doesn't serve him. But sometimes we chase the things that don't serve us instead of chasing the things that do serve us. I heard this quote. You need to write this down too. Decide what kind of life you really want, and then say no to everything that is not that. I'm going to get real personal with you guys. When I was praying to meet my wife, I wrote down 26 things that I wanted, 26 things that I wanted in my wife. 26. And so when I met Jennifer, may I tell you all the real story? When I met Jennifer for the first time, we met in a restaurant halfway between where she lived and where I lived. And I had rented the whole restaurant. There was nobody in there but us. And it was like 5 p.m. at night. I just rented it for a few hours. And in walks my wife to be, and I knew it was her the moment I saw her, because my heart leapt out of my chest. And she was so pretty and so kind and so nice. And one of the first things we talked about after we got to know each other, we said, you know, we think this could work, but we're going to put God first in our relationship. And that's why it worked. And so we've not been separated since then. But we decided what we really wanted in life, or what we really wanted our life to be like. And then we said no to everything else. And it was us. It was JL1 and JL2. And see, that's what I hope. That's what I hope for everybody. That feeling is what I hope for everybody. And that's what everybody deserves. But sometimes we hang on to the things that don't serve us, you know, instead of stepping out and taking a calculated risk. One of the things that I'm going to talk about at the end of the show today is the 8 characteristics of highly successful people. And one is taking a calculated risk, right? And so so when some of the guys I play ball with meet my wife now, they think that I married above my about punt coverage. But you know, sometimes you got to be a good salesman. Isn't that right, Miles?
Yep, indeed.
That's right. Does any of this make sense to you, Miles?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense to me, and especially I had a a major accident about 3.5 years ago, and that accident really opened doors for me. Really brought me closer to God and put me back on the path of that connection. So I'm really grateful. It definitely this has helped me build and rebuild my confidence. This call has been just fantastic. Your association and everyone here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Shane, it's great to have you on the call today. Shane sent me a message about 8:30 this morning. She was reading. I've been, she and I've been talking about what we should be reading. And Shane, how are you today?
The day started off in a wonderful way, and it just keeps getting better. Thanks for asking. I want to briefly say, though, that Jennifer, it's just so great to see you again here. And I've missed you, and I bet everybody here has missed you too. So it's a wonderful day. Thank you. And all that you have to say is so inspiring. You know, I've got lots of notes and lots of things to refer to, and that's what it's all about. Thanks for your friendship.
Jennifer?
Unmute there. Thank you, Shane. It is. It feels good to be back. It's just, you know, it's good to be in the group, and that can be, you can open your heart, pour your heart, and talk and share, and just start your week off right. And, you know, we're not alone. We're not alone. And we just don't, you know, you never know what the other person is going through. You just don't know. And if this can help one person, knowing that, you know, there's other people going through the same thing, and it's the relationship building and relating to each other that's just so important. That, I mean, for me, that empowers me to go about any challenges of my day, knowing that I'm not alone and I can always ask for help. And any one of you all I know could, if I reached out, I know I would get an answer. And it's really just comforting. It's a good spirit and a good feel. But thank you, Shane. Thank you for saying that.
Well, Jennifer started off the call by saying one of the most powerful things that anyone could say to her, or what she says to me every morning, is, how can I help you? And what I'm hearing her say is she loves me. And what I'm hearing her say that she's not saying is, man, she got my back, you know, man, we're together, you know? And so just those affirmations, those words of affirmation, when I'm in the arena and she's getting ready to jump in with me, you know, we know. It's like, we know that we know. I had someone tell me one time, one of the guys that worked for me, and something great had happened in our business, and I had sent one of my fellow co-workers in my car to the airport to pick up some financial people, and by the time they got back to our conference room, I think they were scared. No, but they asked him about me, and he said, Mr. Land, he know. And I thought that was so funny. And that means he really knows, I guess. But I got such a big kick out of that. And, you know, sometimes you got to know. Sometimes you got to know that you know. And it's so important, you know, when you're building your business, or you're creating a business, or you're creating a life for your family, you know, you got to know. You got to know that if you have a partner or significant other or wife or whatever, you got to know that you're in it together. And where I get my sources from God, and my other source is from my God-given wife, right? And so flying to Boston, being in Boston today and talking to you from my hotel room, heck, I've talked to Jennifer 3 times already this morning, and I talked to her at every step of the way, all the way up here. And so because we're a team, and that's what happens. That's what happens when you're in what I call, it's like playing sports. When you're in the groove, you know you're going to hit the home run with 2 men on base. You know, you feel it. And so when you're in the groove, man, it's a good feeling. And I want everybody to have that feeling, and everybody to start sensing that feeling because of what you're learning from us on this call. But anyway, I wanted to go to you, Dawn, because I'm going to talk about something today. One of the characteristics of being successful is being creative. You have to be creative, and you have to be innovative. And what you did, Dawn, and what you're doing with your shoe idea, is just fascinating to me. And so I want you to there's some new people on the call. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I actually started back with the shoe because when I sent you and Jennifer the video, that was like just a quick I kind of threw it together, and I've been noticing that, the material, maybe I can get some better material. But for the people who haven't been here, this is a wedge, and it originally has 2 clear straps for an invisible look. And I just thought one day, well, what if there was material that you could put on with Velcro, and you could just change the color of the shoe within minutes? So I got some Velcro, I did a quick rough cut, and I noticed that, well, what if this is real suede. So I got suede and leather, and I kind of just cut it more to size and just kind of perfected it more. And the material makes the shoe look even more gorgeous. And this is another one, suede, and it's just a lighter color. And it literally, when I say it comes off in a strip, and it goes on so easy. You just line up one side, and it just falls right on. Anyone can do it, and it's
Fascinating.
and I thought about, going on vacation, Jennifer and all the other ladies on here, how many shoes can you pack? I remember packing like 7 pairs of shoes, because you never know if you're going out, you need this color, and this is what women, how they think. Imagine bringing 1 pair of wedges and just bringing the strips, and you have 5 different color shoes to match. And it's just, for packing, makes even more sense. So, but this material, this leather, really, really made a huge difference in how the shoe looks even richer. So
That's amazing.
really happy with me kind of improving on it. So.
Well, I'm happy with your progress and what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. And I will say very lightly that you're right. Women do take a lot of shoes with them when they travel.
Been there.
I take 1 suitcase, and somebody else I know takes 2, and one's full of shoes. No.
Oh yeah.
You want to speak to that,
Why
John?
they gave us 2 bags. So,
That's right. All right. Estee, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you? How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for your kind words on social media. You are always an encouragement to Jennifer and me.
I'm your fan.
We're yours.
Oh, you guys are so inspiring. And Jennifer, it's good to see you on the call today. You guys always make my day, always. And what you're doing here is really amazing too.
Well, that's good. Jennifer and I were talking about you about a week ago. And I was telling her about you moving down to Vero Beach. Is that right? Vero
Yes.
Beach?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're excited to see how God moves in that for you.
Yeah, me too. We're going back out this week to look at more houses and, I'm in God's hands right now. There's just a lot of good opportunities and, just the excitement of being near my daughter and grandson and, it's not as populated as it is here in Pinellas County. It's just a whole different place and I'm real excited to be there.
Good, good. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Tom Chesser. Tom, would you like to say a few words today? Tom's been traveling a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to be home. I'll tell you what, I've had an experience between the boxing event, which we did in Prescott, Arizona for 10 days. And I get back and then one of my dear friends that I youth pastored, his daughter head-on collision, died in an accident. Then I had to be there, wanted to be there for the funeral and be there to comfort them and love them, because it's all about, it doesn't matter who we are. We all need each other's support, and we count on each other, even though we don't know, we count on each other, and it's always good to be in a group like this because I can look you in the eye and know that you got my back, that I can count on you to come there no matter what I'm doing, what I need or what I have in front of me. Somebody's going to have a solution for your life. And you never know when that angel unaware is going to appear. So it's good to be back here. I hadn't been able to be here in a couple of weeks and missed each and every one of you. So we all have the characteristics to be successful because God gave them to us. We just got to know how to unwrap them and use them and make them help other people. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just helping others, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Rachel, I know you're traveling on your cell phone. Can you unmute and say a few words?
I can. I did a travel this weekend. I and my son moved back to Wisconsin so that we could, I'm from Wisconsin originally, so that we could have a good foundation for what we're about to start. So my whole family's back here. So I figured it would be easier. And then, we were let out here to just continue to help the people that we know out here and give them hope and joy, because there's some people out here that just don't have that. And it's so sad. And just to be able to spread the light and love of God everywhere we go is so exciting.
That's great. So you're back in Wisconsin today?
I am. We made it here on Saturday. Hold on. I thought my earbuds were giving.
That's wonderful. Well, I look forward to
A little bit better.
I look forward to reviewing your business plan with you next week.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that too. But the whole thing about all of that is, I just want to, just to be able to have a plan that gives hope to people, and that's the most exciting thing. Like that. Do my son and I, it's just everything involved with that. I'm just pretty excited because it'll do the same thing. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm really proud of you and what you're doing, and so proud of your son. And would you like to just say a couple of words about what your son said about things that really blessed me? I want you guys to listen to this. And her son has a genius IQ. Go ahead.
Yeah, my son, he's been labeled as an Asperger's child because people in society today cannot handle an individual with an IQ over 130. My son's got an IQ of 156. So Josh has always been handled a little bit differently because he's brilliant and he's going to do things in a brilliant fashion that are different than everybody else. So as he listens and learns things, he processes them completely different than most normal people. Granted, none of us are normal, which is perfect too. Anyway, so I have, when I was introduced to Rasaji, to Joseph, and to this whole amazing group of people and learning, I have been streaming it through our house. I have TVs that allow me to stream my phone or my computer right to them. So my son has been listening to everything, Patriot and the Llama, everything, Mastermind webinar. And he's just amazed by it. and he said to me it was last week, he said to me, Mom, that man you keep listening to, he's just so kind and he's got such love in his heart. And then he said to me about Master Rasaji, he said that bald man that you listen to, he said that man has a really good light inside of him, but he's got this weird darkness to him too, kind of like Mace Windu, the Jedi Knight. I know we're Star Wars fans. And I thought that was the funniest thing because in his mind, my son's mind, Mace Windu is so pure and doesn't enjoy the darkness and doesn't enjoy having to squelch any sort of darkness, but is there to do it all. So, I mean, I just thought it was really cool. So Josh is listening to all of this and he's learning and he lets it sink in and he relates to it in his own way, just like that. It was really fun. It was cool.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing how our children pick up on things. And someone told me, what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you say. And so that's what our kids see, right?
Absolutely. And we've been through a really rough year last year. We had some pretty major things happen in our life that kind of spurred it a little bit differently, which, you have to just accept what God throws at you and know that it's going to be for the greatest good of him and work through it. And so as we're working through it, my son kind of went down the path that I was hoping he wasn't going to go down, but having prayers and meditations and knowing that God is going to see him through is what I've been doing. So he kind of, he's always had a really strong spirituality and just bringing in the light through everything that I've been bringing through over the last, I don't know, I think it's been about 6 weeks now, has just turned him back to where he was before last year hit. So it's pretty awesome.
That is. Now your son's name is Jackson?
Joshua.
Yeah. Yes, Joshua. Yeah, make sure you tell him I said hello, and I'm a fan. and he reminds me of Elon Musk.
I know, right? He totally does.
Yes.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
particular.
Yes. So
Thank you.
That's awesome. Jennifer and I are fans of Elon Musk. We like him.
Yeah, I wish he had more products out here because I was looking into some of his tiny homes, but you
Yeah,
can't get them in the US yet.
I'm not so fond of some of his personal habits, but I'm fond of his thinking and his brain and his innovative. One of the things I want to talk about is creativity and innovation. He is that.
Yeah.
So Tom Henderson, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How you doing, Joe?
Good. You want to tell Jennifer where you headed today after this call, you and Lynn?
We're headed to a pig farm. We've been on a 2-week road trip, and one of the couples that we met up in Traverse City, Michigan, they have a big hog farm down here and outside of Charlotte, and 6,500 hogs. So a very interesting man. So we're going to go over and spend a day with them tomorrow. But with all of this, you said sometimes we have to let go. And at my Bible, I'd like to find out about your Bible study on Monday morning too, Joe. I have breakfast at 7 on Monday mornings with a group of guys and another group on Thursdays. But one of the things we were talking about was happiness and joy. They're two different things. Happiness, you can have joy and not be happy. We went up to Grand Rapids, Michigan last Saturday. A couple that we know, she's quadriplegic, and they've been married 20 years, and just with her joy in her life. When she was 17, she was sitting in the front seat of a car, and some kid in the back seat was playing with a gun, and it went off and shot her in the back of the neck. And she's been quadriplegic ever since she was 17. And her husband, Curtis, met her and started dating, and they got married, and they've been married 20 years. But one of the statements she made this weekend and stuff while we were up there, here she is, a quadriplegic. A lot of the time she's got a feeding tube in, she's confined to her wheelchair. She has a minimal use of her hands. she works on the computer with her knuckles, typing stuff in and everything. One of the ladies there asked her, how it felt to be in a chair, and she said, it's God's blessing. And the lady says, how do you see it as God's blessing? She says, every place I go, people stare at me, and people look at me. And she said, that gives me a chance to witness to them about God. And to be able to find joy in that situation and using that as a tool to witness and being joyful about it. She's not happy sometimes. Right now, she's having a real hard time yesterday and today. But it just, you can find joy anywhere. And it's just amazing listening to her story and her life. And Curtis is kind of my hero. He went into this knowing what he was dealing with. And too many times I see in relationships, when things go south and things get hard, one of the spouses or one of the other, I didn't sign up for this, and they leave when people are having physical problems and stuff. Just to see their relationship and their love, like Jennifer says, love conquers all, and just sharing the weekend with them and her witness and joy in Christ and being able to witness because of her wheelchair. I just thought it was an amazing weekend. So God prevails.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That was so powerful.
Yeah.
And that was a word for me too, man.
Yeah.
Persevering.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to talk about today is perseverance, it's just so key. And it's so key to have a format where people can talk and be heard and regardless of where you're coming from. How about you, Candace? How are you doing today? You're muted. I'll come. There you are.
Am I here?
Yep.
Yes, I'm doing really well. Thank you. It's been an interesting summer. I've been traveling a lot, helping my mother who just had an MRI recently, and we're happy to find out that she doesn't have dementia. So that's been keeping me busy and recovering from COVID. So I just got my daughter back into college, and I'm getting ready to start taking some classes myself to learn about social media management, and how to promote my own brand myself.
Good.
As opposed to relying on other people. So I'm getting excited about getting all that started.
Good for you. Well, welcome to the call today.
Yeah, thank you.
Bill Metzger, how you doing today? Can you unmute?
I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, see, people from all walks of life joined my call. Bill is a friend of mine from the New England area. Isn't that right, Bill?
No, actually, I'm in Kentucky.
In Kentucky. Oh, I thought you were in New England. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Thank you for letting me be on, Joe. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you on. Jennifer and I think the world of you, and we pray for you and your business. Bill's in the you're like a meat butcher, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I work for a chain here in Kentucky. That's what I do. I don't have my own business. I'm looking to do something.
Yes.
I pray that God gives me a desire to what he wants me to do. And
He will.
I'm praying for that, Joe. I need some kind of guidance, and I did mention to you, I'm not a computer person. If you could help me in any way, or anybody, I'm lost with the thing, but I just want to share that and let people know. Thank you.
We'll get you someone to help you. And, this is why I have this call, so people can express where they are in their life and what they're struggling with and what they'd like to do and what their dreams and aspirations are. And, last week I told you guys there are people in Pakistan, all over the world listening to this call, the replay of this call. And I had someone in Thailand who actually messaged me and told me they were really blessed by what some of you guys said on the call. And I'm in Boston, and tonight I'm having dinner with 7 people from Dubai. Isn't that cool? And they love what I do in business, but they also love what I do with our brand and our personal life by sharing what we know with people and spreading the love and encouragement. Because to Jennifer and me, that's more important to us than anything else we do. You understand? And so it's really cool when people hear your voice on a recording on this call all the way across the world, and they're encouraged by what you say. So I want to encourage you guys in that way. So so it's great to have you on. Great to have you all on the call today. Dave, how are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Everything going well?
Yeah. I'm just listening, and we go from First Corinthians to say less, say less, which is more, which my wife says all the time. And then hearing some of these stories, especially the one that Tom Henderson said, I'm blown away how that lady is really more of a blessing to others than her being suffering from her condition. I'm just amazed at these stories.
Yeah. Well, I would say, what is the lady's name in the wheelchair, Tom, again?
Erica, and her husband's name is Curtis. Just
Eric
a
and
beautiful
Curtis.
couple, yeah.
And you guys need to write them down and put them in on your prayer list, Erica and Curtis.
Yeah,
But
Erica, she's having a hard time the last couple of days. She's not able, even with the feeding tube, she's not able to keep food down for the last 2 days, and she's starting to dehydrate and stuff. But just keep her in your prayers.
Well, let me tell you that Erica, in my view, would be one of the highly successful people that I'm going to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Number
She's
one,
a blessing to everybody. Yes.
yeah. Number one, she's committed and determined, for all these years. And, in life today, so write this down. Number one, commitment and determination. Today in life, so many people aren't willing to give what it takes, they give up at the first little form of resistance. And the blessing doesn't happen until you get into resistance. Until you start getting resisted, that's when the blessing happens, man. You just got to keep going forward, and you got to be determined. And when you're building a business of your own, and I'm building my third big business right now, hey, man, it's not easy. They're rough waters, and you know what? You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You just got to hold on and keep going. So commitment and determination. All right. And second thing, as I see in highly successful people, is they're leaders. They stand up. They stand up for what they believe in. They stand up. They don't mind speaking in love for what they believe in. In our world today, they don't mind getting canceled for what they believe in. And so leadership is a key in being successful, highly successful. The third thing is they take calculated risk. There's some people on this call now that I'm working with that are taking calculated risk in their business. And you have to take a calculated risk. Jennifer and I take calculated risk in our business all the time. A calculated risk is different than just taking a risk. In other words, when you take a calculated risk, you've weighed all the pros and the cons, you've done your due diligence, and then you move on it. When I have been burned in my business life is when I have moved ahead of where God wanted me to be, when I've tried to get ahead of myself. And so, but when I take a calculated risk, when I weigh the cost, when I do all the pros and cons, when I take a calculated risk, I'm going to win 99% of the time. The fourth thing is being creative and innovative. Being creative and innovative. One of the things that I talked about is Dawn. She's being very creative and innovative in her shoe business. Rachel is being very creative and innovative in the business that she's building. Shane has a very, very creative thing that she's working on with me. So many of you, Jerry, I talked to Jerry about something creative he's doing. So many of you are doing creative things, And you need to surround yourself with people when you're in that mode that push you and edify that creativity and innovation in you. I remember when I built my trucking business. Well, if all the people knew on the front end it was going to be a $200 million annual revenue business, they wouldn't have said things like this. Hey man, you're going to lose everything you got. Well, I didn't have anything. I was so broke I couldn't pay attention, right? But the people on the front end who were saying, hey, go for your dream, you can do it, they propel me in my creativity and in my innovation to do things differently that hadn't been done in the transportation business before. And so we were very creative and innovative in the way we approached the refrigerated, time-sensitive, temperature-sensitive marketplace. Highly successful people develop a need for achievement. I love it when my wife pats me on the back. Don't you love it when somebody gives you a pat on the back? Hey man, you did a great job this week. Hey, you did a great job today. Don't you love that when somebody gives you a pat on the back? And so great leaders and people who are highly successful, they develop a need for achievement. You know, I was riding on that plane with that guy yesterday, and I thought to myself, I'll never stop working. You know, I'll never start trying to take care of myself and keep myself in great shape. You know, I'm going to keep working because I love it. I love what I do, right? And so I have a definite burn for achieving something else, right? And I think all great, highly successful leaders and people have a need to achieve something more. Look at Elon Musk. We talked about him earlier on the call. Perseverance. The sixth thing is perseverance that I see in highly successful people. I read something the other day about the animals going on Noah's Ark 2x2, right? The 2x2. And the quote said, even the two snails made the ark, but they did it by perseverance. They kept crawling, kept crawling, kept crawling. Boom, they're on the ark. And I look at my life, you know, I just keep crawling too. I just keep going and going and going. I keep going. Somebody tells me no, I keep going. It's amazing. And you know what? The seventh thing is have a passion. Just have a passion. See, Jennifer and I have a passion for people. We have a passion to be all that we can be. We have a passion to be a blessing to people. You know, we have a passion to share the love of God with people. I'll tell you a story. Last night, I was here in Boston by myself, and I sat in a restaurant, and I was just going to get something small. And so my server served me, and she was very nice and very kind. And then this other lady, an elderly Black lady, came up to me, African-American lady, and she said, do you need some more water, sir? And I said, yeah. And I looked at her and I said, you know, I can see God all over you. I can see the love of God all over you, just like that. Because she had the kindest, most beautiful face. And she said, oh, thank you. And I said, tell me about yourself. And she stood there for about 10 minutes telling me about herself. And so my meal last night was $27. I gave a $10 tip to the wonderful lady who waited on me. And I gave a $20 cash tip to the African-American lady who stood there and shared a faith with me. You know, and because I'm just so passionate about connecting with people. I'm so passionate about knowing what moves people. And I'm so passionate about my dream. And I'm so passionate about my role in my life. Why God created me is to share my faith with other people, to share that encouragement with other people. Have you ever been broke? Have you ever been broke, busted, and disgusted? You know, have you ever been broken in your life? Have you everything happened in your life that just broke you in two? Well, that was God making you new so that you could be real and to share things. That was one of the things we were talking about it in our Bible study this morning with those men that I told you about. We're talking about just being real and just, you know, why else would we be successful in business but to share the love of God with other people, you know? And so many people get caught up in business and their importance and this and that. And 100 years from now, that won't matter. What'll matter is you made heaven. And so having a passion for who you are and how you're made and how God designed you to talk to other people and how you can share in a passionate way your business and what you're doing with people, that's what sells. When somebody comes up to me and starts telling me how passionate they are about their business, man, I get excited. I want to get involved with it, right? I want to get involved in the conversation. I want to engage. You'll see the movie Top Gun. You know, Maverick got freaked out and he flared off instead of engaging in the fight. And all of a sudden, something clicked and that passion came back to him and he came back to the fight, right? That's a great movie if you ever want to watch you know, passion and commitment and perseverance. And so then the last thing is take charge of your life and take responsibility for your life. You know, what's happening in your life is the same thing that's happening in mine because of the choices I made. And I take full responsibility for it. And you know what? That doesn't mean I have to stay stuck. What it means is I can make better choices. I can take charge of my life and take responsibility for my life to be a better person. And so I wanted to share those 8 things with you guys today. Was that good? That help you guys? Anybody have any comments? Tom Armour?
Yeah, Joe, that's great. I was thinking back to some of the things that we talked about as I used to sit down with people and set goals for where they want to be in 5 years or what their plans are in their businesses and stuff. The thing that I found out that was probably the most important was what Tom Henderson was talking about, that no matter what their situations were, I found out that people's reasons and excuses were the same. Just some people use their situations for an excuse and some people use them for reasons. So, you know, you can find joy or reasons in anything. So I'm excited about that. And I already stole yours and your wife's thing and asked my wife what I can do to help her today. And I have a list I got to go get done here today. But I like that way of actually asking. So I already did that during the call here. So I'm already putting it to work. So I'm excited about being on the call and just want to say welcome back to Tom Chesner. We missed him and his energy bay here on the call. So it's nice to have him back.
Well, Jennifer, you have any closing comments, honey, before we close out today?
Thank you all again, really, for taking this, you know, short time of your Monday when I know your minds are reeling and you've got so much to do. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. So have a blessed week.
Well, we love you all and thank you for joining us today. And I want you to hang on here. I'm going to end this call. I want to say one more thing, but I'm going to end the recording now. And thanks to all of you all across the country and world who are joining our session today. And God bless you. And we'll see you next Monday.
Joseph. Thank you, Jennifer.